Well, hello. My name is Brian, and Alan's not here today, so I broke into his house to give you a special Brian introduction for our 51st episode.
Oi, Brian, what the fuck are you doing in my office? Get out of here. And take your trousers with you.
Looks like that's my cue to go.
Jesus. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Retrotopia podcast, your little slice of retro gaming heaven. My name's Alan, the British guy, and I'm back, baby. Oh yeah, feeling good. I am hugely excited today because this is a very, very special episode of Retrotopia, and not something that we do often. One of our own, Sam, has had a bit of a change of heart regarding one of the games we covered back in the past. He said he hated it at the time, and he's changed his mind. He actually really, really likes it now. So today on Retrotopia, we are going to be revisiting the Animaniacs for the SNES. And, sorry about this. Very, very unprofessional of me. I'm just going to answer this. One moment. Bear with me. Hello?
Alan, this is Timothy, and I have Sam. I demand that you release a Rocket Knight Adventures episode if you ever want to see him and his sweet pretty face ever again.
Who the hell? Joe? Joe, is this you?
No?
Joe, the caller ID says Wildcard. I know it's you, for fuck's sake. What are you playing at? Just give us Sam back. Fuck.
Shit.
Joe? Joe? Oh, fucking hell. Okay. Shit, well, we kind of really need Sam. He's all of our sex appeal. So, I guess... Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Retrotopia, a little slice of video game heaven. And today, we're going to be covering Rocket Knight Adventures, apparently. But before we get into all of that, of course, we have to go through our socials, which we have a lot of. We have Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, I think, Discord, all of which you can find conveniently all in the same place at linktree/retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/retrotopia. And if you fancy giving us a tiny little bit more support, then we have a Patreon as well, which you can also find there. You can join our Patreon for free and comment on episodes, get all of the episodes in the same place. You get access to our quick play mini reviews, our monthly discussion podcast, Retrobytes, where we just talk about gaming and all sorts of other things. It's quite a lot of fun, that one, actually. And what else? We also have a paid tier for those of you who want to go that extra mile. For just $2, you get all of the above. You get a shout out in the intro, and you get to pick and choose the game of your choice for a quick play episode. So again, our mini review episode, not only do you get to pick the game, you also get to pick the host, if you so choose. So you could decide to reward or punish a host of your choice at your leisure. Right, so with all of that out the way, that brings us to our 8-bit banter box. And while the guest of this episode may not be culturally elegant, I can assure you the 8-bit banter box is. Alright then, first up on the 8-bit banter box, not the 9-bit banter box, we've been over this. It's the eldest millennial who says, "Hello, collector. If you were to find yourself in the McDonald's verse, surrounded by Ronald McDonald's grimaces, Fry Kids, Hamburglers, Birdies, and others, which would you hunt for food, and which would you take as a companion for your more carnal needs?" Oh, interesting question. Now, I haven't seen those guys for a hot minute. Is that still a thing in McDonald's? Like, is Ronald McDonald still a thing? I don't know. So I'm not entirely familiar with all of these characters, so I'm going to say that the obvious choice, I think, for hunting for food, I think the birdies, right? I mean, they sound like birds, so you could probably catch them, deep fry them, turn them into KFC. Or Popeyes, which has just opened up around the corner from me, and that's made my life so much better. So yeah, I think I'm going to eat the birdie. I mean, I don't know what Grimace is made out of. I mean, could be that he's delicious. I'd be willing to experiment, but let's go with the birdies for now. And who would I take as a companion for your more carnal needs? I think I'm going to go, and this is going to sound a bit out of pocket, but I'm going to go with Ronald McDonald, and here's why. Because if I can seduce Ronald McDonald and become sort of heir to the McDonald's fortune, then well, all we have to do is arrange for Ronald McDonald to meet with an unfortunate accident, and then I'm a billionaire, and well, that would be lovely. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Thank you, Eldest Millennial, for that very strange question. Appreciate it. And next up, we've got Unbuckled Cape from the Unbuckled Comics podcast, which, sidebar, he's just had a rather interesting, well, I think it's an interesting episode. I'm rather biased, but I had a lovely little chat with our friend Cape there on an episode of Unbuckled Comics recently, talking about the Amory Wars, and it was a fucking good time. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, we had a lovely long chat about comics and Coed and Cambria and what have you. So go and check out the Unbuckled Comics podcast and go and check out that episode because it will make me feel good. So, Unbuckled Cape says, "Oh mighty collector, I must ask you, how do you decide what retro game to buy next?" I've got to say, first and foremost, I mean, this collector thing seems to be catching on, and I'm all for it. I like it. I mean, for those of you who don't know, I do collect games. I've got a reasonably sizable collection. By no means as big as I'd like it to be, but then nothing I have is as big as I'd like it to be. Sip for effect. So, how do I decide what retro game to buy next? Well, I have a wish list. So we have a retro game store, or a retro game franchise, or a second-hand franchise, whatever you want to call it, over here in the UK, CEX. I'm not calling it sex because that's just weird. And on their app, they have the ability to favourite games. So basically, I've just compiled a list on there of all of the games that I want. It's about 300 or 400 strong at the moment. And basically, if there's not something that I'm really aching to get, then I will pretty much just pick the next game off of that list, or a couple of games off of that list, and just work my way through that. Sometimes I buy a game for the show, so that will dictate what I buy next. But yeah, if there's not something that I think, oh, I really need that game here and now, then I will just work my way through the list. So there you go, that's the secret. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the questions, as always. Thank you for getting involved. Before we move into the game chat, what have I been up to? Well, I've been ill. Genuinely, actually. Yeah, I've had a cold. We went to I was on holiday, which is why this episode is late, because we were supposed to get this out and ready before I went away, but then I had a massive system failure over in my office at Retrotopia headquarters, and I was unable to complete this very intro that you're hearing now. So we had to push it back. But yeah, we took a little holiday in Italy, Tuscany to be precise, and it was delightful. Lots of food, lots of wine, fair amount of sun, and first time I've ever taken my daughter, my little 3-year-old, away. So she had a blast as well. So it was all good. Other than that, I've got home, of course, and the first thing you do when you get home from a holiday is you get sick. So I've had a cold for the better part of a week now, owing in part to that very same daughter coughing exclusively into my mouth at every opportunity. Hmm. Um, So that's where we're at. I'm feeling better now, though. I mean, it's on the way out. It might take me with it, but it's on the way out. What have I been playing? So I managed to complete Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories on the PSP, sort of while I was away, and sort of wrapped it up after I'd gotten back. So that was a lot of fun. Just Grand Theft Auto 3 on a portable device. You know what you're getting yourself into there. I'm still plugging away at Final Fantasy 13, which I think I'm pretty close to finishing. I mean, I'm not going to say anything about it. I know it's an old game, but still. Let's just say I think I'm about a chapter or two away from the end, and I don't hate it. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy game I've ever played, but I'll be happy when I've got it done. It feels like it's been on my plate for a while now, and I'm dabbling with Harvest Moon 2 on the Game Boy Color because that's just a very chill game, and I like a farming sim every once in a while. Borderlands 2, I'm playing co-op with the missus. We love the Borderlands games, and we've just decided to work our way through all of them. And I'm just thinking about starting up Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon on the 3DS for an upcoming episode of Retrotopia. And I'm very excited about that because the first one was excellent. And that's everything that I'm playing and or doing. So, usually, obviously, at this point, we would have the gentleman's interlude. But seeing as I'm here, I don't know what I'm. Oh, hello, hello. Is this the Retrotopia headquarters? I got a delivery for you. Um, okay. Who are you? You're not our regular postman. The special delivery from some guy called Wildcard. Just sign the thing. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is going to be some bullshit, isn't it? Okay, cheers. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. Yep. Lovely. All right. Let's have a look, see what this is. It's a cassette tape. All right. Let's pop this thing in and see what it says.
You better not be messing with any of my stuff down there.
Is he gone? Oh, thank fuck. Shh. Keep it down. He's gonna hear you and come back and spank me again. Why am I here, do you ask? Well, Joe had approached the three of us about covering Rocket Knight Adventures, and he stormed into my house like a madman and kidnapped me. I'm being held in this dingy basement until I can beat the game, which I haven't yet. Sorry, won't be able to make it to this week's game chat, but I hope I can find a way out of here soon. Anyways, Rocket Knight Adventures is an action platforming game developed and published by Konami for the Sega Genesis in 1993. The game stars Sparkster, a possum knight who's equipped with a sword and jetpack in his fight against the Devatinos Empire. I don't know how to say that. Shut up. The game was designed by Nobuya Nakazato, who worked on the Contra titles Alien Wars, Hardcore, and Shattered Soldier. Players control Sparkster through side-scrolling platform levels and defeat enemies using the sword at close range or by emitting short-range slash. Sparkster can also use a rocket attack by charging up and launching in one of 8 directions. The rocket launch can also be used to access areas that are otherwise out of reach by the standard jump and plays an integral part in progressing through the levels. A unique and graphically vibrant and colorful game, Rocket Knight Adventures was well received by critics, receiving high marks from multiple publications, and is a well-regarded and highly sought-after retro title among collectors. A Super Nintendo version of the game was planned but never released, making this a gem of the Sega Genesis catalog. A sequel, Sparkster Rocket Knight Adventures 2, was released for the Genesis in 1994, while Super Nintendo got a spin-off game called Sparkster. The series was revived in 2010 with Rocket Knight for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Steam, and is playable on current-gen consoles. A compilation of the first 3 games, Rocket Knight Adventures Resparked, was announced by Limited Run Games. Okay, now I'm gonna go keep rubbing my nuts on all Joe's fancy stuff. Oh shit, he's coming back!
Sam, I've told you like 3 times now. You don't need to stay in my basement and beat Rocket Knight. Really. You can leave. Please leave.
Wow. Okay. That was a thing. So, hang in there, Sam. I guess we're going to do this episode now, and hopefully you can come home. Because we miss you, buddy. Okay, well, no listener comments for this episode, so we're going to get right on into the meat of it. So, check that your jetpacks are fueled and sharpen those swords because we are talking about Rocket Knight Adventures, released for the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive if you prefer, in the year 1990, God knows what, because I didn't look it up because I'm not very good at my job. 1993. There it is. Okay, well, enjoy the episode and thanks for listening.
All right, as you heard from the introduction, today we got our good friend, excuse me, Wildcard, also known as Joe, here with us on the show to talk about Rocket Knight Adventures for the Sega Genesis. How are you doing, young man?
I'm doing pretty good. On a random note, how many hot dogs do you think you could eat in 10 minutes?
You had that one loaded up, didn't you? And I have
No.
an answer for that. I could eat 10 hot dogs at a time per minute, spit them out, regurgitate them. So about 10. Anyways, they go in and out, in and out. I just put them in wherever they go.
Oh, you're a master at in and out with hot dogs.
The glizzy
All
gobbler.
right. Yeah, so I like how you already taking this off track. Alan, how are you doing? Let's talk to somebody competent.
Why have we got another special guest on the show? Or no,
Sam,
I am
Sam.
No, we got a hot new face in today. We've got Joe here, so
Hot new face.
Hot new
yeah,
face.
sure.
no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm exhausted, but otherwise I am good. So ready to talk about what, frankly, I think is a criminally underrated Sega Mega Drive or
100%.
Genesis game.
I prefer Sparkster on the Super Nintendo.
I can't speak to it. I've not played it.
It's on the Genesis as well.
I know. I have it sitting there. I just want to get through this one first before I move on.
I tried touching the other ones. They just feel so much worse.
Oh,
to me.
really?
Oh, yeah. After this, like, quick tangent. It's just like your rocket pack is always recharging constantly. So I just feel like I'm pinballing constantly the whole game.
Oh, shit. Don't tell me that. I spent like £100 on that copy of Sparkster.
Well, enjoy your investment anyway.
Yeah. I just kind of noticed that I was looking up if there were sequels to this game, and I did notice the Sparkster game, and it looks like they didn't try at all.
Yeah.
And that kind of talks about how good this game looks, but we're going to get into that because I want to do a bit of an introduction of the game here. So, Rocket Knight Adventure was released in 1993 for the Genesis. We all know that. That was part of the Sam's GI there. And it was developed by Konami, and we all know Konami for Castlevania, Contra, and, of course, Metal Gear, as well as, I'm pretty sure, other stuff I'm forgetting.
Fantastic lineup of games there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The series follows the adventures of Sparkster, a possum knight with a jetpack. That just sounds like somebody's crazy idea got picked in the pitch room. He battles against various threats to his kingdom. The game received 2 direct sequels, Sparkster Rocket Adventure, or Rocket Knight Adventure 2 on the Genesis, and a separate Sparkster on the SNES. Modern Reboot was released in 2010 for the PS3 as well as other platforms. But it was not the same game, so we had to stick to the Genesis version. So my first point is, and I got to bring this up,
Okay.
a possum isn't a superhero.
Well, it is if you strap a jetpack on him and give him armor and a sword.
Yeah.
You could say
absolutely.
that about anything.
You could
But
say that about a hedgehog.
A hedgehog isn't a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
do
if
you
you
know I
throw a
love
hedgehog,
Sonic?
at least it goes fast.
I mean, you could fastball special anything. It can go fast.
I mean, I
But
don't think we have possum over here, so I can't speak to throwing one, but I'm sure you could do some damage.
I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't think you've looked hard
Does-
enough. Possums are everywhere.
It could be. I could be a possum just in a suit. Yeah,
That
Um,
would
it's
explain
definitely
so
possible.
much.
Oh no! It
Certainly
looks
would.
like you have an opossum. It's only one four-eyed opossum currently lives in the UK at Berrylands Farm Park.
Is there a
Just
difference
the
between
one.
an Is there a difference between an opossum and a possum?
The
Thought it was
letter
just
O.
spelling.
I was going to say.
Okay, cool.
You got there like a split second before I
Yeah.
could.
Why did I come back here? God
Yeah.
damn it.
All right, so I actually did look up some physical characteristics of a possum and why it wouldn't be a good superhero. But first one is it lacks the physical prowess to be a superhero. It's slow, it's clumsy, and it's not particularly strong. Really making them
Hence the
ill-suited.
jetpack.
Yeah, really making them ill-suited for combat and high-intensity situations because their power move is playing dead.
Which everything you've just said is basically my experience playing the game. Like that's how good I am at this.
Yeah. Something else is these nocturnal creatures have poor day vision. And you don't hear anybody running around saying, I want to be a possum.
Oh, you
Whereas-
didn't know me as a child then. This is exactly what I wanted to be. This is what
Yeah.
I grew up with was this game. I'm like, I want to be a rocket knight possum knight.
And
Joe just lays in his bed there. His mom's like poking him. It's like, are you actually dead this time? It's like, no.
I'm training to be a knight. Leave me alone.
Well, that leads us to a good question, Joe, because you
Yeah.
said you grew up with this game. So, I mean, this is one that you've played a good many times. Yeah. What is your history with this game?
So this is like one of the first video games I actually touched. Because, well, one, it came out the year I was born, but my first experience with video games was like 8 or 9 years old. Somebody gave me a Genesis, and this was one of the few games that they gave me with it.
Sure.
So I just played this over and over and over as a kid, kept dying on the train and never made it past that.
Oh yeah, we'll get to the train.
Oh, we'll get to all
I
of
got
the
some
fun
shit to say
bosses.
about the train.
If you can get
Ugh.
past the train, everything falls into place, is what I've learned.
Okay, well,
I'd agree.
all cards in. I didn't make it to the train. My experience is
Dude.
about stage 1, stage 2-ish.
Okay, and you've not.
Whoa. All right. You said you didn't make it far. I thought at least like, maybe, he made it to the lava fish and then, everything fell
No.
apart. But
No,
okay.
So we'll be strapping a jetpack to Brian and carrying him along with.
Oh
this.
yeah.
yeah,
got it.
I'm going to be the facilitator of this discussion mostly, but because I started off with my my game design program, I didn't have a lot of time to game in the last week. So when I did give it my good, sailors go, I only made it through the first 2 stages, and then I meant to go back. I just never had the friggin' time, and
Yeah.
I kind of love it because I like being busy again. But so gameplay mechanics in this game. So there's a couple of unique features. Sparkster has a jetpack. It's his defining feature, like you said. Strap it to a possum, and all of a sudden he's a superhero.
Mhm.
It does allow for aerial combat as well as him launching himself in directions, which is the burst attack. He launches him in angles to help kind of a puzzle addition to the platforming of this game.
Yeah, which I love that about this game because it just takes it from platforming possum with a sword to just you're flying all over the screen. It's constant movement.
Yeah.
You're
Absolutely.
it gives you a lot of versatility for just 8-directional jetpack.
It's a nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice hook. Given that.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
how many mascot platformers have we seen? And I think to stand out, you really need to do something a little bit different. And I mean, who doesn't love a jetpack? That's
Oh yeah,
Oh,
everybody
exactly.
loves a
a
jetpack.
masterstroke. I mean,
Well,
I have to
then-
admit, I haven't a ton of experience with this game. I've played it a good few times, but I was really late to this. And my first experience with Sparkster was we used to have a comic book over in the UK.
Oh, gosh.
So a Sonic the Hedgehog comic book, not the Archie ones. These were the
Oh.
These were the Fleetway ones that we got over here. And if anyone listening to this has read those comics, please contact me in the Discord because I can't be the only one.
But they had a Sparkster strip, and I was just
Yeah.
like, this is fucking cool. I mean, I don't know what a possum is, but he's got a sword, he's got a jetpack, he's fighting pigs and goblins and whatever. And I was just like, this looks awesome. And it wasn't until years later that I finally got a chance to get my hands on it, and I'm stoked to say that the game lived up to what I hoped it was going to be.
Oh,
Oh,
hands down.
I will admit, as somebody who's not a big like Genesis guy, this is now my favorite game on the Genesis. It is so
Oh,
Wow.
in two
well.
levels.
Yeah, this. Yeah.
You should have seen where this goes. Dang. You're on
Yeah.
I
board
know,
alone.
like I actually want to play this game, and like, Sonic the Hedgehog, I didn't want to like play after we talked about it.
Yeah.
Golden Axe, all those types of games just felt yeah. But this game, it hooked me. Like I played the PS3 one for probably about 3/4 of the game, and I wanted that one to be an actual remake and not a reboot because I would have rather played that one. But this one here, I thought it was just going to be like NES Hard, that classic retro hard game, and it is for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's hard but fair.
I was just gonna say it
I
is
wanna
the
see-
definition of hard but fair. This game.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see if you still feel the same way after you get to the pig mecha.
Okay. Yeah.
And
We'll get there. I was
we'll
like,
get.
Yeah,
I'm like, we'll.
You
Yeah.
motherfucker. We'll
Oh,
get.
All right.
There's some bullshit.
Exactly. Combat mechanics in this game. The one thing I always find funny is when they give somebody a sword and it shoots a beam out. It's like, why not just give them a gun? But then I think back to the 90s and I realized
Yep.
that they just didn't want to promote guns, so laser swords was the way to go.
Yeah.
Well, that and going back to also like the sequel, they take out this sword beam, which I feel like neuters you for the rest of those two.
God, yeah, that would
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah, I know. That's why
I
I've played 2 minutes of it. I'm like, I don't have a sword beam. I'm flying everywhere. I hate this.
Ah.
I don't know. I think
Ah.
it would have been good if the sword beam was more of a specialized weapon rather than like the main focused weapon.
Yeah, but you can really use it to break this game too.
I know. See, and that's where the problem comes in. I mean, why have a sword if you don't even need to use the sword aspect of it?
But if you use it as a sword, it does insane damage.
Oh, so
True
they've
enough.
actually
Yeah.
made it.
Well,
he's
this
not
is
much
something
of
I
a-
didn't learn about until probably like playing it more as an adult. But if you get in close on any boss with that sword, it hits like 7 times in one stroke.
That is
Oh,
true.
there you
So
go.
it melts everything. But high risk, high reward because any boss you touch does like
Well,
4 hearts of damage.
that brings
Yeah.
me up to another point. Actually, is the charge attack? There was
Yeah.
it gives you invulnerability if you charge an attack, and then you just take off and defend yourself from getting hit while you charge and you attack again. If you keep doing that, you're pretty much invincible.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
you can play it safe and do it.
Yeah, I mean there
I
is
mean-
a lot of tactics to this game, especially with the bosses and what have you. There's a lot of learning the patterns. There's a lot, like you say, it is retro hard, but if you take the time and put the reps in and learn the patterns, it is very, very beatable.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, every boss comes down to that pattern and everything. Like if you were going to jump into this game and you're like, I really want to beat it, I would say 100% do it with save states or rewind or anything just to get down the patterns and then start like, all right, I'm not using any of this. I'm going for it.
I was. Oh man, my train of thought just kind of derailed there. But
You
I was kinda-
saw a train
sorry.
once.
yeah, I saw a train once. But no, I was thinking like this is the type of game that if you like Mega Man, you would like this game because the bosses have the same type of patterns when you fight them. And once you learn the pattern, the bosses become not so hard. But there's still a challenge, like an inherent challenge in this game, no matter what you do, because one fuck up ruins your whole run.
Oh yeah.
That's actually a really good comparison, Brian.
It is, but I'm confused
Oh,
why
you.
I can't beat Mega Man, but I can do this. That's what I don't understand.
Because you haven't tried hard enough.
Because Mega Man
Oh,
is not a
tried.
possum, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, if Mega Man was a possum, I might be fair game then.
Yeah,
I might get really
absolutely.
into it.
That's true. The helmet comes off. It's just Sparkster.
You're just
It's like,
better.
haha,
It
I
turns out
lost the
you're
rocket
just,
pack.
You're just better with swords.
Yeah.
That's all it
Yeah.
is.
There you go.
Oh man. So going over the story and settings here, we'll talk about that for a bit. So the story follows, like I said, Sparkster, the titular Rocket Knight, as he defends the kingdom of Zebulos from an invading army of pigs led by the evil Devotindos
Yeah, you have
Empire.
fun with the names of everything in this world.
Oh, yes.
I'll have fun.
So
Nice.
Sparkster has a nemesis named Axel Gear, which is a way better name.
Oh yeah.
A rogue Rocket Knight, and it also plays a significant. So, three key characters: Sparkster, Axel Gear, and King Geddle. God, why can't they just like? What do they do? Throw some Scrabble tiles on the table and just like these
100%.
ones work.
Do you know
This
what?
world is so convoluted and insane.
Right.
I
mean,
feel like this was like a very cocaine-induced like idea for a game.
100%. Somebody went deep on lore here for something
Well,
that,
oh, yeah.
frankly, I did not pay all that much attention to. I was just like, oh, this
No.
is a possum with a sword. This is awesome. I'm just going to go fight some
Yeah.
pigs. And it's just like, there's a King Guido, there's a whole kingdom with a history and all of that. And I was just like, yeah, cool, thanks. But
Well, like I bought like the Resparked like the remake edition for this game when it dropped, and it came with like a little comic book with it, and this thing has world building. I read about half this thing, and I'm like, I think I'm going insane. Like this world is the most convoluted fever dream I have ever witnessed, but I'm
Now-
all for it.
Happily, it doesn't take away from the game them
Not
overcomplicating everything. Like they could have just given people, don't want to say normal sounding games because there's going to be somebody on the other side of the world who's like, Gedel was my father's name, and and
oh boy.
anyways, I'm going to get in trouble for that. But
I can't believe Sam came in here and said that, dear.
yeah,
God.
Sam, get away.
Wow.
But just overcomplicating stories sometimes takes away from the overall enjoyment of something. But because the story really doesn't play a huge part in this game, it's just something you do when
Mhm.
I guess you kind of become obsessed with the game and you just want to learn everything about it.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a game you can become obsessed with.
Oh yeah. Like honestly, if you pick up this game and just don't read the manual, the plot seems simple until you start getting towards the end of this thing. Because it's just like, oh, I'm a possum. There's bad pigs. Fight the pigs. Done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what it boils
This
down
is-
to.
this is the prequel to Angry Birds.
Yeah, for
But you know what?
where the possums failed the birds rise.
I like the fact that somebody has obviously gone through all of this effort to write this convoluted backstory, because even if you don't know what the story is, it translates into an absolutely gorgeous looking game. You know,
Oh,
yeah.
somebody has built a fantastic world here which looks absolutely incredible on screen. Whether or not you know what's going on or not, it's just like that feels like the I don't know, the foundation upon which you know how this game looks and presents itself. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you're
And
just
they put,
going through along for the ride, and it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
They put a lot of details into this game that didn't really need to be there. I'm watching the video as kind of we talk here, and
Mhm.
it's on that lava fish you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
And when he comes out of the lava, the fish is actually like making little sparks out of the lava, and
Mhm.
then it's representing that it's that hot. The other one was when he was flying with his rocket pack. If you got close enough to the water, it would create like the jet
I
stream.
loved that growing up, and
Yeah.
even now. It killed me doing it, but I loved it.
Yeah, but those are the type of details you see in the greatest of games. Like those are
Mhm.
the type of things that don't really matter, but they're just great to have.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the parallax scrolling in this game is just
Oh, yeah.
insane. The detail in the backgrounds and what have you. Like they really put a lot of effort into this, and yet at the same time kept it looking cartoony enough that it's not sort of bogged down in that sort of visual style, if that makes sense. So the pig sparks, all of that really pop against those really detailed backgrounds.
It's like they really hit that perfect mix between like enjoyable gameplay but really good aesthetics. Like didn't go too
Mhm.
far one direction or the other.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's definitely a positive point for this game is just the way it looks and how detailed everything is.
I mean, it's
To the
Konami,
point-
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was always going to look good.
Oh yeah.
For their time, before they went to slot machines and then realized they
Oh.
weren't making a lot of money off that.
Yeah.
But that like just guided us right into the art and sound design. I don't really remember the soundtrack of this game off the top of my head, so nothing really
Well,
like
you
stuck in my
experienced
brain.
2 songs.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
know, I'm gonna go listen to the soundtrack right now.
You should, because it's great. Alan,
Is
did
it?
you make it to the stage where you're flying through the city?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
absolutely.
That by far is my favorite track in this game, hands down.
No, again, I'm gonna I'm with Brian here now. I have to admit, the music was great, but
Hmm.
it's not that it didn't stand out. It's just like if I'm thinking about it here, and again, I've not played this as much as you have. Like you asked me
Right.
about any music in a Sonic game, and I could tell you the track, the level, everything. But this, it's just like I get the overall impression that the music was fantastic, even if I can't sort of pick out any particular track over another. But it was all just very appropriate, all very fitting
Oh yeah.
to the
Like
gameplay style.
I could safely say at this point, Alan, try and play it muted at this point, because you've made it far enough to where you can get through, I'm assuming, most of the early game without too much struggle.
Oh yeah, yeah. As
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, my
no
last.
sound and lacking of music takes so much away from this game.
Oh, I don't doubt it. And the sound
Yeah.
effects, like literally all the explosions and the sound of the sword and the jetpack and everything, like it all just slaps.
You have like 2 separate death screams when you die, depending on how you die. There's
Oh
so
yeah,
many
well
tiny
I
details.
definitely heard both of those.
Oh yeah.
But I think more to my point to the music was there was
Yeah.
no song that you just hear randomly. And you're like, oh my god, that's Rocket Knight. You know Sonic, you know Mario,
Mm.
That's true.
these kind of things. So it's kind of one of those franchises that could have had a what are they called, mascot for Konami, but they didn't really run with it. It was just like, hey, let's make a great game and forget about it, and then go work on Metal Gear.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They're like, "Hey, let's throw another fast, tiny blue mascot on the Genesis, and then forget about him."
Yeah, like they've
Yeah,
done with
especially in
Castlevania
1993. When did
fuckers.
the Rocketeer come out?
I couldn't tell you that. I'm a baby. I don't know these things.
1991. So it was right in the height of the Rocketeer craze.
Oh yeah, yeah. Back in the day, jetpacks were everywhere.
I would say early '90s.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you slap a jetpack on it, it was sweet.
Yeah, yeah. We all wanted a jetpack.
Exactly.
Still to this day.
Oh, I definitely want a jetpack.
Yeah.
I would just fly around yelling out jetpack everywhere I went.
I mean, I
Just to-
accept the fact that if I had a jetpack, I'd do that once and then probably, crash, plummet, whatever, horrifically. But I had a jetpack once and you didn't.
Literally, everyone's going to remember you. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you remember that
Oh,
guy
that guy
had
with
that
the jetpack seemed so
Yeah.
cool. What happened to him?
Yeah.
He landed once.
It's fuck, brain gone. Anyways, let's do a lightning round. What's your
Okay.
favorite level, Alan? You go first, followed by Joe.
Favorite level, probably any in which you get to do the side-scrolling shoot 'em up sections. I really fucking love those sections. Like anything where you just get to really unleash that jetpack and using the beam sword, just firing at everything on the screen. I really dug those things. As for actual whole levels, I'm trying to remember all of them now.
They're so short too.
They are
Yeah.
pretty short. I know I wasn't a fan of the airship.
Nope.
So that stands out as definitely not on my hot list. Sounds crazy, but I think I might have to go with, I think it's the second to last level, just before you go into outer space. So it's the sort of city and the castle and that section there, because you get the shoot 'em up section, and then inside the castle, it's just moving walls and lots of hazards and what have you, and it just feels very, very epic and very fucking satisfying to get through.
I was gonna say I'm surprised because that is by far one of the meanest parts of the game.
Oh, it is, but
Yeah,
again,
you
like
have
said,
to do it perfect.
Yeah, but it's so satisfying when you do,
Oh yeah,
and it's not
bullshit difficulty. It's it's very obvious what we want from you here. Just get it right and you can proceed. That's all you got to do. Stop fucking up.
Easier said than done.
You sound like my mom.
Well, this is as good a time as any to reveal Brian. Mummy's
yeah. All right. Anyways, that's
even for me.
Yeah, that's a new kink unlocked here. Joe, what's your favorite level?
I'm sitting here thinking about, I'm looking at the list in front of me too, and I'm like, I've spent the most time on the first 2 levels just because of childhood and being a stupid child.
Hey, me too.
Right? It's so relatable. But I say that, but then like how Alan was saying, like, you get the challenge of like you get through it and it's satisfying. I'm gonna say like more towards the end game, probably the giant pig Death Star, which I said earlier, this game goes weird places, but yes, there's a giant pig Death Star. But it's just a challenge. It's a culmination of like this insane story coming to a close, but it's also insanely difficult and satisfying to get through.
Yeah, no, well said. All right. Alan, favorite boss.
I take it you didn't see his note that he said BRB, guys. Keep talking.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's why I was trying to rant that
Joe.
as long as you can.
All right, Joe, favorite boss. Let's start with you this time.
Oh, because I was totally prepared for that. While it's probably by far, in my opinion, the hardest, I'm gonna say probably the final showdown with your rival Axel Gear, just because that rival fight in so many video games is always satisfying. You're fighting an enemy that has the same move set of you as you, can do all of your attacks, do pretty much mirror anything you can do, but better. And just getting through that is always so satisfying.
Yeah. Oh, I always love when you have a dedicated rival. I just think, oh God, I hate when a game like gives you a rival, but they don't really portray them that often right up until they have to have the battle.
Yeah, they're just there.
Yeah, he could have been used a lot earlier in the game. Maybe not in a battle sequence, but a guy who sets off a monster against you, but more prevalent in the story of it all.
In this game?
That's kind of fair, though.
I was gonna say, I'm like, as soon as you beat the first level, he's there.
Is he?
Yeah, he's Oh, buddy.
As you can tell, I've been very busy this week. I don't have a lot of fucking memories going on. All right.
I mean,
that's how little I fucking remember them.
There's a lot going on. Like
he literally kidnaps the princess right after you beat the first boss, and you're chasing him the rest of the game.
That's okay. He shows up and kidnaps the princess, and you go fight pigs after that. I mean, it's not like when does he show up after that?
When you smash through his airship. Would you actually do anything with him? A giant mecha boss fight where you're fighting a giant mechs.
So not for quite a while.
What, Alan?
That boss. That's just that single boss there just is responsible for all of my trauma with this game.
My first time doing it melted all of my lies.
Oh,
I feel like my mental health is actually better for only getting up to level 2.
It is.
You say that, but then it's like chasing that high.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, well, now I gotta do it.
I mean, I think with this game, the first 2 levels, level-wise, are actually not harder, but certainly more chaotic than the later levels. It's just, it seems like everything is thrown at you just right out of the gate. And then once you
want to introduce people to your game right away, right? And then you can kind of taper them down and expand on the different ideas.
I guess, but most games sort of ease you into the concept, whereas Rocket Knight just sort of throws you in at the deep end and just has buildings exploding around you and bosses just leaping out at you, and it's just like, okay, well, do or die, I guess. And then I feel
that's why I think the first level's really good for that. There's not a lot going on in that first field level.
Yeah.
It gives you the room to kind of experiment with everything,
Yeah.
Fly off in directions. Figure out how this works. Figure out your jetpack attack does way more damage than your sword, and all of this
Yeah.
stuff.
And it's
No,
very
it's,
easy to figure out, even without sort of reading a manual. It's just, it kind of feels like gaming 101.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I've got a jetpack. Nothing happens when I jump. Okay, well, if I hold down the jump button or the attack button or what have you, it's just, okay, well, there you go. There's my jetpack. So everything really makes sense.
Yeah, I think
how
that's
many
where
games?
Go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, how many games in the '90s gave you a tutorial level? So
Right.
this
True.
it's kind of as unique in its own little sense, where it's like either figure it out or fucking die. And I went with the second option.
Kind of old school Konami, really, isn't it? It's just like
Yeah.
Castlevania
Well, same with
never held
Castle.
your hand. Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
You
There
walk
go.
into a castle and you come out after the Rondo episode.
Or don't, as the case may be.
What a
So,
big-
Alan,
I think at this point you got evicted from Dracula's castle. He was just sick of having you around.
Yeah, I don't think you escaped. I think he was just like, get out of my house.
I kept waking him up at noon.
Yeah.
It's like, you slept all day, wake up. But we're talking bosses, Alan. I know you stepped out for half a second there and nobody noticed. But
No,
what's
nobody.
nobody. What's your favorite boss of the game?
Favorite boss of the game? Again, it's another one of those. I know what my least favorite boss of the game is.
I can take a guess.
Yeah. The train, as frustrating as it can be, is really fucking cool. Like, I love that design. And again, it's one of those bosses that really sort of almost telegraphs the pattern. So it's just like, okay, I see what I have to do here. Let's think, what else is there? There's a snake that comes down out of the roof. I don't care for that one very much.
It's actually a spider.
Is it a
Not that any-
spider?
Yeah, I didn't know that until I researched for this. I always thought it was a worm. No, it's
Yeah.
a spider. Apparently,
It's got an elongated body that rolls in at you. It's just that.
yeah. Oh no,
Alright.
that's an arm. Apparently,
Oh, it's not. But okay.
So,
come on, help
I'm gonna
me out
ask
here. What are the other bosses?
you have. Well, yeah, we have the pig mech we talked about. We have
Yeah.
what I'm assuming is your personal favorite, the battleship.
The battleship is not all that bad when you know what you're doing, but fuck me dead. Was that thing a pain in the ass? Because
It's one of the most satisfying to learn, I would say.
it is. I'll 100% agree with you on that one, because when you know what you're doing, it's actually a very easy boss.
Exactly.
But you have to burn through quite a few lives to figure out what you need to do, because in the first instance, that ship takes up pretty much 3/4 of
yeah.
the screen. So you have no room to work with. And you dodge bullets, you take bits of this ship off, and it explodes. And you think, great, I've beaten that boss. The fuck you have, because the cockpit then turns into another giant robot.
It doesn't die.
And again, once you know what you're doing, it's not that difficult. And
No.
I pissed and moaned about that boss quite a bit, but on reflection, I think it's actually a really good, creative, and dare I say it, fun boss. It's definitely up there. It's definitely up there. I mean, I can't speak to the final boss because I never got that far.
It's satisfying and it isn't. It's one of those. It's like when you first experience it, it's the coolest thing ever, and then once you learn how to beat it, you're like, you're a wet fart compared to like the battleship.
Yeah,
it can get easy.
But yeah, that can kind of be described as a lot of the enemies in the games, because they're very pattern based. Once you figure out the pattern there, you just figure out how to use the pattern to your advantage, and it's the Mega Man formula.
Yeah, and that's why this is a game for multiple playthroughs, because like it expects you to use and lose lives in order to figure out how to beat these bosses. Like you said off the top, Joe, if it's just a game you want to sit down and with the intention to beat, you really have to practice it.
Oh yeah, hands down. You gotta do it over and over again if you're ever gonna beat this thing.
And I could
Well,
see
that's
you
where
getting
this
really
game-
good at it. If you do.
Yeah, but that's where this game shines. Is it's fun enough that when you do die, you go back to the beginning, and it's not boring at the beginning. You're like right into the action.
Yeah.
You don't have to level anything up, so you have all your stuff you can use. And as you get good at the game, the first few levels just like you blow through. So it's a progressively better game every time you play because you get better at the stuff that used to be challenging, and then you meet new challenges.
Yeah.
Again, another trope of the 90s and all their games and why they are so revered nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Juno.
Is revered the right word?
Uh,
God.
I
don't know.
accept you. I don't know. I'm too tired to English.
You're
And, you know,
tired. I'm dumb. I mean, sure.
I tell you what. You know what boss? Now that I think about it, really fucking pissed me off.
What you got?
It's again on inarguably my least favorite level of the entire game, which was the airship. And
Yep,
you know where I'm going with this.
I do. I have one worse, but go ahead.
So the one where you're hanging on the rail outside of the airship, and you've got that.
Oh, not where I thought you were going. Okay.
Oh no, it's literally the one that flies underneath you. And for the life of me, I could not power charge
I was
straight
just gonna say,
down
you killed yourself doing it, didn't you?
so many times. And the game knows you're going to do that because you spawn next to an extra life. So even
Well-
the game knows you're going to fuck this up.
I was looking for a good point to bring this up too. That this game does do a good job though of teaching you a mechanic right before you need it.
That's
So,
true.
for example, right before that, why are there these weird bomb enemies that you hit and they drop?
Yep.
Anyways,
why is
go
that
over
extra
2
life?
feet. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you go over 2 feet, and then there's this boss. Oh, if I jetpack straight down into him, I'm gonna die. So let me just lame it out for a second. Hey, bombs to drop on his head.
Oh, you see, so like the first couple of attacks, I was just dropping straight down and bouncing back up. But that wasn't the problem. Going straight down was fine. But for
Yeah.
whatever reason, now maybe I'm just shit. Maybe it's the controller. But yeah, we'll blame the controller.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
I was going directly diagonal, thereby missing
That's
the boss
ballsy.
altogether.
Yep.
It's a ballsy move. I tell you what, it didn't pan out because I would just miss the boss and just rocket pack my way down to terra firma. And that's not how you rocket knight, fellas.
See,
Oh,
I
it's
just
the
like that
spirit
you
of
were.
the game.
Yeah, I like that you were persistent enough of like, I'm gonna keep doing this. I did that once, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna think of a new plan. I'm not doing that successfully ever again.
There you go. You see, so you're actually being smart, and I'm looking up the definition of insanity.
Yeah, no, I lame that one out, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna wait for the cycle of bombs and try and drop them on his head,
No.
and that is it. I am not gonna try and dive bomb this guy and bury myself in a grave in the earth.
Yeah, see, I just figured, you had to get a couple of licks in before the bombs came. So now I feel dumb and
Well,
insane.
I honestly thought you were gonna say big dancing robot after that. That just drops piles and piles of
Oh.
shrapnel on your head.
Yeah, but you know what though? That's another one of those bosses it seems very difficult, but
Yeah.
when you lock in, because really and truly, it's just the debris that can cause you grief there. If you
Oh
can
yeah,
keep out
it
of that,
is. Yeah.
you're golden. Because then a big part of the robot opens up with a big glowing red orb, and you think, "Wow, that's it. That's what I've got to do." And again, it's just locking into that pattern, and I like bosses like that, where it's just like, "I got you, fucker. I know what you want me to do, and I can do this."
It's just those first 3 attempts on it, where it's just like, what the hell am I looking at? What am I dealing with?
Oh
And,
yeah, because like
it
shit
just
is
burns. Yeah,
shit
it burns
is
through everything.
flying everywhere, but
Yeah.
it does so in just a way. It's just like, pay attention to this up here,
Yeah, exactly.
and you'll know where to go to dodge it.
And I think it's more the fact that like nothing up until that game, and in this game, has done that.
No,
So it just jarred me so much. I'm like, I haven't had a bullet hell. What the hell is this?
there you go. And that's again, this game is so fucking creative with the bosses. Like every single one of them, you don't know what to expect.
Oh yeah.
And I would
Well,
say, and I'm gonna, I'm gonna be bold here because,
Okay.
like, you all know I love my Sonic games, but
Mhm.
They're okay.
ju- oh, Brian, you jump on Robotnik X number of times, job's done. Now, not
Yeah.
to say they don't get creative with that formula, but this game, it's just like you really have to work out. So I think there's perhaps a little bit more creativity in the bosses here than
I would
even
say
my
that
beloved,
hands down.
even my beloved Sonic.
Oh yeah. Like Well, I like the fact too. It's like there's no set like, all right, it's a boss. I know I need to hit it 4 times. It's like no, every boss has a different amount of health, like vastly.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's
So
no
the,
indication when the boss is about to die, so you don't get that little motivational bump to take the extra risk.
no,
Nope.
you never know. So it's like get ballsy or don't.
Yeah.
You're gonna die if
Yeah.
you don't.
Oh,
And
you can just play it safe the whole time, and eventually he'll die. But I always like when the boss like starts to flash. Like if you look at TMNT, another Konami game,
Oh yeah.
the boss starts to flash, or at least Turtles in Time, and then it flashes faster, and all of a sudden you're like not giving a shit about your health as much anymore because you know you've almost won the fight.
Yeah. There's one boss in this game that does that, and it's the beginning of the second level, like the giant robot that pretty much swings its arms or spikes everywhere and has a big red nose.
Oh
Oh
God,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah,
remember
when
that
you
one.
get him down to like pretty much 1 or 2 hits left, he'll just start like shaking violently for no
Yeah.
reason. Which I don't get why that's the only one that does it, but it does.
Well,
Oh,
again,
he was probably the prototype boss. I mean, he's bigger than the mountain, so to speak.
That's
And
true.
somehow you're also very giant compared to the mountain if you could hit his nose while he swings his arms over it.
Okay,
yeah.
well now you're just looking into scale on a level of nobody cares.
I think what it comes down to is the same coked up employee who did the law was just like
Yep.
designing bosses as well. It's just like what
Oh, yeah.
what did we decide for these bosses? I don't fucking know. Just make it up as you go along.
Yeah,
Well-
right after the 80s there, just like, all right, we need something for a game, man. It's like, all right, let's do a possum. Possums are cool.
Apparently, Macho Man Randy Savage is working at Konami.
Well,
Yeah,
I-
what we gotta do is we gotta make this bus and he's gonna flash and it's gonna be the greatest.
Oh, yeah, the possum rises to the
Oh,
top.
yeah. Some of them are gonna flash and some of them ain't. Yeah.
Oh, sure, I mimic a voice and I'm getting in trouble, and you mimic a voice and we're all laughing.
Yeah,
Well,
because Macho Man.
he has a voice that can do that.
Hey,
We're just
wow.
chumps.
Wow.
What do you mean? Wow! It is Alan.
That's true.
I was like,
It-
we
it
all
is?
know the reason he joined this team. It was called "I Want That Sexy Voice."
No, we wanted the sexy voice, and it was
Oh.
awkward with his wife every time we'd call and be like, just speak to me.
Joe, you can come back. Ryan, oh, not so sure, buddy.
Looks like the podcast I started and invited you into is done with me. I think I just got I can't think of any bands that kicked out their lead singer.
Like an army of pigs, I have usurped your kingdom, stolen your princess, and fled to the pigsty. And now we're back on track.
I don't like
Actually,
being
on
on
that
track.
note, yeah, no, I do want to talk about that a bit too. Is where the hell this game goes. Like, if you know nothing of what's coming or anything, you're just like, oh, okay, save the kingdom. Wait, why am I fighting a giant robot? Oh, I'm in space now. This is not where I was expecting this to go. Oh, there's the Death Star. Oh, I'm fighting AI?
Cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. It just literally goes back to the cocaine-fueled writers of this game.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, it's just like, it does genuinely feel like they were kind of just like making it up as they went along. And I love it because
Oh, yeah.
you do genuinely never know what's coming next.
Everything is always fresh. Like,
Yeah.
there is only one enemy in this entire game that goes across multiple levels, and it's the freaking owl. Everything else,
Oh, yeah.
you
yeah.
see it once, you defeat it, you will never see that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which it's a level of creativity, and like I can appreciate it. Everything's new always.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this amount of creativity, like I know I had my comics and what have you, but it's just like I would have watched a TV show of this.
I feel like a
Yeah.
TV show might have fallen apart just because of how convoluted it is.
Oh, you weren't there for the 90s. If they can make Mario and
wasn't.
Sonic into cartoons, they
I'm
can turn
telling
this
you.
into a cartoon.
We watched some absolute bullshit in the 80s.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sonic
God, yeah.
Underground. That was great, right?
No,
Everyone
no,
loved
we're
that?
talking before that. Sonic
Oh,
the
even
Hedgehog.
before that.
Oh yeah, the original Sonic, when Sonic kind of started making
Oh,
cartoons, and they turned out to be better than the games they were making.
Where
Oh,
doesn't he
silly.
lead like an underground rebellion or something like that in the
Oh,
original?
it's probably one of the series. I have no
Are you
idea.
talking about like the properly cartoony one that has? I think it was Jim Cummings playing Robotnik because
I
Uh, I
think. I think that's what I'm talking about, but I don't know.
yeah, but
I know there
It's
was a
before my
underground one
bunch,
was
time.
good as well. Anyway, Sparkster.
Hey, he's fast in blue too. We're
but no,
topic adjacent.
it goes to back to the point of this could have been a good cartoon. I mean,
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
you have the protagonist, which is Rocket Knight or whatever his name is, Sparkster. You
Mhm.
have his rival, who could be the bumbling idiot who always loses every episode, and Axel Rocket Face, or again, I don't have my notes open. What's his name?
Axel Gear.
Axel Gear, which is again a better name. Uh, then you have King Gelad or Gedal, who is always there scheming up new schemes to get the princess, who is your, the classic hero's journey princess.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the TV show was called The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, followed by Sonic the Hedgehog, followed by Sonic Underground, Sonic X, Sonic Boom, Sonic Prime, and then finally Knuckles that came out this year.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched that yet. Fuck.
Yeah. Sonic goes.
There you
Yeah,
go. It just goes to show, a good, well plotted mascot television series, could work. And
and
the amount of work that went into this game, it's just like
Yeah.
it's basically a cartoon as it is. Just
I read up
I'd watch
like
this.
while you guys were talking, I was kind of reading in the background here, and I did read that it was Konami's attempt to make a mascot for the Genesis. Obviously, not so much to overshadow Sonic, but just kind of get into that mascot market, which was very popular at the time.
Oh,
It wanted to
certainly.
be the Legend of Zelda to like Mario, essentially.
Yeah.
Like 1A, 1B.
Well,
Yeah.
excuse me,
God.
princess. So good.
In
Good stuff.
hindsight, yeah, if they did a show, we actually might have gotten more of this like IP. So you know what? Yeah, I want a show now.
Yeah. And it's just a
Well,
shame
now it's
because
too late.
Now we can do it.
No, you'll never get
You have a
90s good
platform.
cartoons. You just absolutely won't. Like, I think we peaked at Pokemon, and then everything from that point started going downhill.
that's
Like,
it.
kids today don't sit in front of the TV and watch cartoons. No, they sit in front of Roblox and play whatever the hell Roblox is.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think we could. Who's got the? Yeah, let's try and get the rights to Sparkster and see if we can't cook up a Retrotopia production.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a Patreon if you'd like to join and support our wanting to build a old or a new media empire based off a very old niche game.
All right, it's first tier. This is where your Patreon dollars are going to
There you
buy
go.
the Sparkster IP.
But yeah,
No, the first Patreon dollars are going into the cocaine for this idea.
Ah,
If we're gonna
it's
do this
all
from the
coming
'90s, we're
together.
gonna do it like the '90s.
we got to hit all the staples.
Yeah.
Everybody get shoulder pads for your suits.
First you get the cocaine, then you get the possum, then you get the money.
Yeah,
Right,
sounds like a
so-
recipe for success.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what do you say we kind of wrap this up with a long-winded speech from Joe about how much he loves this game and what he gives it out of 10? Joe, take it away.
Yeah, I had that prepared. Like I said, I grew up with this, so I had plenty of experience with it. It's definitely one of those games of like, if you never touched a Sega Genesis, it's like pick up Sonic 2 and pick up this and just have a ball of a time. Learn how to play this, enjoy yourself. It's a great world to get lost in, all the variety, and it's just an all around good time. That's about all I got.
Fantastic.
Great
What
job.
would you give this game out of 10?
You know,
two.
nostalgia's powerful. I literally can give this a 10 because I can just play this anytime continuously. This game's
That's,
a 10 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
That's absolutely acceptable, and I think I don't think there's been a game we've reviewed yet that we've just pretty much gushed over it like this. So there you go. Joe comes on, he ruins the metrics. The bell curve is all off. Alan, why don't you level us out? Give us your take on the game and score out of 10.
Well, I mean, it's a surprisingly good Mega Drive / Genesis platformer that isn't called Sonic the Hedgehog. Like we've said, it's absolutely crammed full of ideas, but while never feeling sort of overstuffed, it really plays well. I mean, perhaps my one gripe, if I've got any, is that I found sometimes the controls can be a little bit on the slidey side, which,
Oh yeah.
is not ideal for a platformer, but it does literally everything else so well that I can overlook it. I mean, it sounds great. I mean, it looks absolutely stunning. I mean, there are very few games I can think of that have had this amount of effort and detail put into all of the levels. And like Joe said, every level is different. The enemies are different. It's this was obviously while we've been joking, but this is obviously somebody's passion project, cocaine fueled or otherwise, and I think it shines through. And I just think it's a bit of a shame that this franchise is pretty much dead. I'd love to see it come back from the mascot platformer graveyard. So, with all that said, I think now I'm not going to give it a 10.
Coward.
Well, it's not Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But I think I'll give it a very healthy 8 out of 10. And I'm starting to think like we're going to need to get around to some terrible games soon because,
we got a few coming up.
We've been cooking. Oh, God, yeah. No spoilers, but yeah, 8 out of 10. Brian,
I'm not going to give it I'm not going to give it a score because obviously I can't score a game off of 2 levels I played, but I'm going to give kind of the opinion of somebody who was not a Genesis fan who definitely recommends this game to anybody who's trying to catch up on, old retro video games. This is definitely one that should go on your list. It's one that's on my list. It's moved from the play for the show side to the play for myself. So I am going to go back to this game, and I'm actually considering getting the Rocket Knight re-release there that Joe was talking about.
Yeah, highly recommend.
This is also like Rocket Knight is also available on the PS3 on the PlayStation Plus Retro or the premium level. So I played that one. That one was fun as well. Like when I said I played 3/4 of it, that was the only time I've played the game was once, and I bombed through 3/4 of the game. So obviously telling you it's a little bit easier than this game. Definitely love the graphics. I'm pretty sure once I get back to sitting down and editing this, I'm going to start trying to pick the songs or the music. The way you guys are talking, I feel like I'm going to have a bit of a problem picking which one I want to use. But that's a good thing. Obviously there's no memorable jingle that says, "Oh my God, that's Rocket Knight." Like many of these, I'm not going to say memorable, but these games that everybody talks about in the retrosphere. They always have these songs that you immediately recognize. But yeah, my recommendation is if you want to play Genesis games more often, this is one you have to put on your list and put it near the top of your list too, because there's not many better than this I've played so far on the Genesis.
Right on.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, I score it 1 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, listen, you got to give us something. Yeah.
All right. Out of the 2 levels that you experienced, what would you rate those 2 levels?
Okay, out of the 2 levels I experienced, obviously not getting into the weeds of the entirety of the game, I'd give it about a 7-8 out of 10.
All right,
yeah.
I can live with that.
It's not the perfect game to me. It got some very generic platforming stuff, but it also has some unique elements to kind of make it stand out from the rest. Its own little hooks, as Alan called it.
Yeah.
But I got to get into the game. Like I got to sit down and I got to get it on my TV as opposed to my computer, which is where I emulate the game. And I need to sit back and play it.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that this is an underrated gem that not enough people are talking about.
100% it is. That's why I wanted to cover it here with you guys, because it was like, I never hear anybody talking about this. And I'm like, it needs to be discussed.
Well, Joe, you picked a winner, and you may pick yourself a jetpack from the Retrotopia stocks.
Oh, sweet.
Fly safely.
Awesome. All right.
So faulty.
As Alan has said, we are wrapping this up. Joe, thanks for coming out again. We'll definitely have you back. We consider you the relative of Retrotopia. We don't want you here, but you keep showing up uninvited, so we'll have you on again. And
That's
yeah,
so
any
mean.
final words? Anything you want to plug before we take off?
Nothing to plug. Just just want to say thanks again for having me on again. It's been a blast.
Sure, buddy. It's always good to hear your voice.
You too.
No, it's not. And with that, let's take off. So you have yourself. Oh, Sam's not here for his catchphrase. My favorite of his was Retrotopia. Go fuck yourself. But I'm not going to say that. So just bye.